only a few things in the world we probably never get, right? One, that's what a woman is thinking, right? As a married man, I still don't know what the hell wifey be thinking sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I know Cope probably could attest. But two, it's like, what the hell will make my score be a perfect score, right? What's gonna get an 850? Why can't I ever get it to the 800s? Why can't I get into the 700s? So let's go on here and break that down, right?
Stack my money up like Legos. Bet me when I say so. Pull up in the spotlight. Pull up in the drive.
What's up, world? It's your boy Brandon Copeland, aka Professor Copeland. I'm here with my dog, as always, rocking the Black Wealth Matters, coming live to you, man. We got Ross Mack in the building. Ross, what's good, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, let's go. How you living? What's the word?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. You got on Black Wealth. I got on Life 101, man. We logoed up out this thing.
Hey, look, you better know it.
Listen.
We gotta wear our logos. Guess what? You can wear your clothes. That's a business write-off.
Hey, say no more, man. Look, if you don't support you, then who the hell will? I'm gonna just go ahead and say it like
That's
that.
a
It ain't
fact.
shameless. It ain't no shameless plug, man. But
That's a
but
fact.
I've been getting a lot of questions lately, man, and a lot of people talking about, obviously you got, in order to buy some of the major things in your life, the major purchases, the major decisions, right? You want to buy a car, right? They're going to check something. You want to buy a house, and you're not buying it straight cash, homie. They're going to check something, right? You go to the checkout aisle, whether it's a clothing store or even electronics nowadays, Best Buys of the world, JCPenney's, all these different things, right? Like, and 9 times out of 10 at the register, they'll say, hey, you can save 15% today by opening up a rewards card, right?
Huh.
And what are they going
Everywhere.
to check, man? They're going to check the same thing. It's a common thread, man. They're going to check your credit. They're going to run that score. And so a lot of people are trying to not just understand their credit, but how the hell did this number get to be this, and how can I improve it, right? I've never missed a payment in my life, but it's not perfect. What? How does it work like that, right? So credit is, Albert Einstein, your cousin, as you say, Alberto.
My boy.
He says compounded interest is the 8th wonder of the world, right? I'm gonna go out and venture on the limb. I'm gonna say credit got to be damn near the 9th. Credit got to be the 9th. Go ahead and put that there. Put my face next to the quote. I want that. You know what I'm saying? I want that
ain't mad at
credit
that.
right there, right? It's such an intricate number that determines, it really determines ultimately what you can afford in this world. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, we're going to talk about credit. We're going to dive in here to make sure that anybody listening to this episode has a better understanding of their credit score and how, not only what it is, but how they can improve it in the future. So I'm gonna kick it off myself. I'm not even gonna give you the microphone back because that's how I'm feeling today, man. I don't even want to
Talk your talk then.
I don't even want to waste my time with you, man. Like, I got some shit on my chest, Sway. I got some shit on my chest, man. But I'm gonna kick it off like this, starting simple. When you ask the question, what is credit? For those of you who've created a resume in your life, right? Hey, this is what I've done. This is my job history. This is my experience. Your credit score is your financial resume. Ultimately, when people look at your credit score, they're trying to determine, do I feel comfortable lending this person my money, right? Like,
Exactly.
you tell me what you can do. You tell me you're going to pay it back. Yeah, man. Ross, let me borrow $5, bro. I promise you I'll pay that back, man. I got you next week. Well, that credit score going to tell me if you really going to pay it back or if I got to watch you. We might have to send some people after you. You know what I'm saying? So we have a guest that comes to our class every year at Life 101, and his name is Sam Parker, and he has a whole business called My Credit Guy, helps people improve their credit. I love his analogy of it. Is you walk into a car dealership and you say, oh, I want to buy this car. And they say, okay, cool. Well, yeah, man, you look like a great person. All good. Let me go ahead and we'll get the paperwork done. Let's go ahead and pull your credit and ultimately your credit score, he uses the analogy, are, let's say, 5 people behind you, and they're behind you telling that car dealers, yeah. Nah, he good for the money. Go ahead, let Ross have that. He got that. Or they like, man, he lying. Stop. Don't. No, he still ain't paid me back. He still ain't paid me back for that parking ticket years ago. You know what I'm saying? So that analogy is the way I think of my credit nowadays. I think it's so simple, but now that there's a score, but there's an algorithm that actually makes up that score. And this is one of the things that I know you've broken down extremely well on your TikTok and your Instagram. You've broken it down to Rossi as well, too. If people ain't checked that out, man, y'all make sure y'all go check out Conversations with Rossi, right? But when you start talking about what breaks down, what goes into the makeup of your credit score, what are some of the things that you would call out for our audience?
Now, before we keep going, make sure you follow Money Music Coach on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and go subscribe on YouTube, because we need all the support to keep this thing going.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, as a man, there's only a few things in the world we probably never get, right? One, that's what a woman is thinking, right? As a married man, I still don't know what the hell wifey be thinking sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I know Cope probably could attest. But two, it's like, what the hell will make my score be a perfect score, right? What's going to get an 850? Why can't I ever get it to the 800s? Why can't I get into the 700s, right? So let's go on here and break that down, right? There are literally 5 things that make up your credit score, right? So the biggest thing is your payment history. That's going to make up 35% of it. Then you're going to have 30% of it based on the amounts owed, right? The balances, etc., that you carry, how many people you owe money to, right? Then we're going to have 15% as a length of credit history. So, you know, contrary to popular belief, right? Like, oh, I just paid this card off, let me close it. Credit agencies, right? Potential people that are going to lend you money, they might want to see you having held this credit card for a long time, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? Because that lets you know, yo, this person is credit worthy, right? 10% is going to be your credit mix, right? They don't just want to see, look, you got your, you know, your one credit card, or you got your one student loan. They want to see, hey, you got an auto loan. Do you got a mortgage, right? Do you got Target, right? You know what I mean? And then lastly, the last 10% of the pie is going to be new credit. Okay. So they're trying to see, you know, are you opening up, you know, new good standing accounts? And so the reason I even say, like, a lot of people have no idea on what makes it up is because in your mind, you're like, okay, I'm paying my bill on time, but yet I still, my credit score is not going up, right? Like, yo, I just bought something, right? Soon as I get my bill at the end of the month, I pay it off in full. Well, one thing I always tell people is like, look, you got to understand there is a mismatch in when you pay your bill versus when your credit card company reports to the credit bureaus. And what I mean by that is like this, right? Suppose you get a $10,000 credit card, right? And you like, you know what? Bang. I just charge it. I charge $8,000, but it don't matter because each time I pay it off, right? Well, one, I'm going to tell you, you know, 2 things really about that, right? But the first is like, okay, you know, suppose I buy it, say, you know, June 1st. My credit billing cycle is the first of every month. So June 1st, you know, next month, July 1st, right? The very day before it, I pay it off, right? Here's what you need to understand. There's a billing cycle, and there's a difference on, you know, when the credit card company says, hey, you know, Equifax, Experian, etc., right? TransUnion, hey, this person, this how much they owed on this month, right? They owed $8,000, right? Despite you actually paying it on time, what's going to happen for that entire next billing cycle? They're going to be like, yo, bro, he had carried an $8,000 balance, right? $8,000 balance versus the most that we were willing to extend them was only $10,000. So what I want you to understand is that there's a way to actually kind of trick the credit card companies by saying, you know what, sure, I charge $8,000, but guess what? I'm going to pay it in full before the credit companies actually report it to the billing industries, right? Or to the credit industries. And what that does is actually make you look even better, if that makes sense, right? So literally understand that if you're able to pay before the billing cycle ends, then the credit card company, whoever extended you credit, they're not going to report that you held such a high balance because, oh, you understand the game. Because there's a huge difference on when they report versus when the bill is due. 99 times out of 100, they're going to report before the bill is due. 100 times out of 100, right? 100% of the time, what they're going to do, they're going to report. So what I'm saying is understand when they report, understand how to pay that off early.
Yeah.
Now, part two. So that's
huge
part
right
one.
there. I was gonna say that's
Massive.
huge right there because again, like when you I got one credit card, I think they pull on the 12th, right? But the 12th is just when I happened to open that credit card up years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like not necessarily when, they might report to the bureaus on the 15th or whatever, right? But like what you're saying is making sure you understand that, know that, so that you can manipulate the game, either play the game or watch the game play you and be that broke motherfucker talking about I stayed true. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
so play the game.
bars.
Play the game. Cold world, cold-blooded.
And so what's crazy, so look, you happen to open that credit card on the 12th. Guess what? You can call, suppose you got 5 credit cards or whatever, right? You could actually call every credit card and say, hey, could I change my billing cycle to end on whatever date? You could actually call them and request that, right?
I didn't know that. Wow.
They should change it for you, right? And that might help you, one, stay on top of all your bills, because imagine all your bills due on the 15th. Or the 18th, and you used to getting paid on the 15th, boom, let me pay everything off real quick, right? And so part one is what I'm saying, is just showing you how to manipulate the way that your credit cards, your credit score is actually being judged, right? They're judging you not off if you pay it in full every month. They're judging like, damn, okay, whatever your balance is at the time that the credit card companies reported. So that's part one. Understand that. Look that up. Understand that, right? Billing cycle versus statement date. 2 different things. And then number 2, let's go back to that same example, right? You got a $10,000, credit limit, right? So you got a new credit card, it's lit, right? Boom, they extended you $10,000. You think, okay, every month I can spend up to $10,000.
That's what it said. That's what the limit
what it
means.
say, right?
Don't go over the 10.
Long as I, charge up to 10, no more than 10, right? I ain't trying to, go to the club and they be like, hey, sir, your credit card, I ran it 5 times. It's not going through. You out there on a date with your shorty. You think it's lit first date. Hey, bro, what you mean? Run that motherfucker again. What you mean? My credit card. So I ain't necessarily saying that, but what I am saying, right? If you got $10,000, the name of the game is to charge no more than 30%. Remember, 30%. Don't nobody teach us that, right? I remember going somewhere and a young lady pulled up to me like, yo, man, you and Cope was talking about this one time, and I never knew that. I got a credit. Because look, as soon as you turn 18, you know what I'm saying, you could get, it's a few things you can get. You can't get no liquor, but you could definitely get a credit card. They literally preying on little kids. You can literally, can't get no liquor. You can vote, and you can damn sure get a credit card, right? As soon as they come with a credit card, it's about 50 offers. You literally think you the prettiest girl at the prom. It's, oh my God, I ain't never got this much attention. But one thing they're not gonna tell you is no matter what the actual, your limit is, don't charge more than 30%, because one, when we're talking about that pie equation, well, guess what? When I say amounts owed making up 30%, if you were charging over the 30%, so once again, $10,000 example, right? $10,000 credit card limit. That means don't charge more than $3,000, because when they report to the rating agencies, right, the credit bureaus, you're gonna be like, oh damn, bruh needed to charge $5,000. Oh, he's 50% credit utilization. Oh, that doesn't look good, bruh. He needed all this. Sure, we gave it to him, but he needed all that? No, we don't like that. We're going to dock him down a couple points. So the idea is to never charge more than 30%. And if you really balling, you feel me, keep it, in that less than 15%. And ways you can manipulate that, right? Because I get it. It's your credit card. It's definitely points involved, right? Oh, I want to get as many points as I can. Well, once again, you can make several payments on that same credit card before the credit card company reports it to the bureau. So you can charge $8,000 in that same thing, but I charge $4,000. Let me pay that off the next day. So now it's only showing $4,000 out of the $10,000, which is still 40% utilization. We want to get that down. Then we make another $2,000 payment. Boom. Now it's only down. Now it's only $2,000 out of that. It's 20% utilization. But at the end of the day, at any time that the billing cycle is getting ready to end, understand when they're going to report, you never want to have over 30%.
That's it's wild. I'm glad. Obviously, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly.
And so it takes these types of conversations so that you can make sure that you are positioning yourself to have the strongest credit score possible, especially leading up to some of those major purchases in your life, because the difference between a 790 credit score and a 700 credit score is thousands. The difference between a 700 credit score and a 650, thousands. Like, you gonna feel it on your
It
pocket.
adds up.
Yeah, so
It could be tens of thousands. If this is a is a mortgage, if this is a car loan, come on.
yeah, I mean, and so the thing here is to not be, because I'm not gonna lie, you know me, I got an ego. I will admit that. I'm a humble person, but I got an ego, and there's certain times where I'm like, man, I ain't playing your game. Like, that's the ego. Like, I ain't playing your game. I see your game, and I'm not about to play your game. I got this limit. I'm gonna use my damn limit as I need to. But sometimes, as my boy Don Carey, shout out Don Carey, running for politics, former Detroit Lion, running for congressman down in Virginia. Yeah, man, in Norfolk, Virginia, I want to say. That's dope. One of the things he used to always say to us in the film room: humble yourself, because on that football field on Sunday, they will humble you. So humble yourself, do what you need to do so that you got the strongest credit score possible, so that when you walk up into that dealership or you walk into that bank and try to, or that title company and try to close on that home, right? Like, you don't get humbled there. You don't want to be humbled on that day. Nah. You know what I'm saying?
Humble yourself. It's one thing as guys. I remember growing up, everybody used to brag about how many numbers they got or how many women they slept with. Don't nobody ever want to brag about their credit score because it's low. It's in the 5s, it's in the 4s, it's in the 6s. You want to get it above 7, man. And so when we think about, I'll tell you one of the easiest things to do, right, is to actually check your credit report, right? That's step one, right? So I jumped ahead talking about knowing how to manipulate and keeping the credit utilization under. But one thing is like to actually check what's on your credit score, because at the end of the day, you'll be surprised how many things that are not valid, right? You'll be looking like, this ain't even me. Oh, wait, I paid this, or this. What do you mean? Oh, I never lived there. This can't be me, right? And so you'll be surprised that there are a few things that you can look at and you can dispute, right? By disputing something, it'll take the credit they have within 30 days to review it and say if it's valid or not. After that, in 30 days, it'll fall off your credit report. So that's one thing that you'll look up like, wow, because there are a lot of fallacies. There are a lot of things that are actually incorrect. So I would definitely recommend, one, just checking it. You'll be surprised, right? And let's go through a list, right? I think, two, is actually paying your bills, right? I think we live in a society where back in the day, right, we gonna go ahead holler at my dog Plies, right? Ran off on the plug twice. He steady calling, I ain't calling back. Hardest line to ever come, right? The plug in this instance is any credit card company or any company in the world that's willing to extend you credit, because that's what he's talking about. His plug was going to lend him, right, give him some drugs, and you pay me back after you sell them. And he made it popular, man. I ran off on the plug twice. But growing up, right, we heard everybody joking about, oh, man, I ain't answering the phone. That's a bill collector. You know what I mean? They screened it. When Call ID came out, it was over for bill collectors. They got to be fraud or something. They say, I ain't answered that. But like the idea of truly making it okay to like not pay your credit card companies is ridiculous, right? Or any person that's extending, because you'll be surprised, right? If you got a medical bill, I was just talking to somebody about that. You'll be surprised if you could actually call them and negotiate with them. Look, bro, I broke my arm. Like, or Cope sticking me in basketball. Damn, I broke his ankles. Cope called his credit card company. Yo, I broke my ankles. Or he get that bill. It's $20,000. He ain't got no insurance, right? It's like, oh, look, put me on a payment plan. Rather than me just fully not paying it, put me on a payment plan, right? That's another thing. And then third, obviously, we talked about, well, let me go back to that. Pay your bills on time, right? Me personally, if I'm charging anything, I'm paying the full balance. I'm never paying interest. Interest on credit card, like 20%. Me personally, I'm never paying it. I don't think it makes sense to charge money that you don't have. Cope, what you think on that?
No, I'm 100% with you. I think that one of the things that when you just so everybody knows, like when you pay that minimum, that means you're paying interest on everything else remaining, right? So
Yes.
the minimum is the least thing that you have to pay, and they love the fact that that's why they highlight the minimum, so that's how they make money is interest
By default.
on.
Bro,
Yeah.
by default, you go in, you log in to your American Express. Do you want to pay it? Oh, pay the minimum. It's highlighted. It's in bold. No, motherfucker, you ain't for the finesse me.
Right, because that interest and that compounding interest that we spoke about earlier, right? You don't want it working against you, right? And when you're just paying the minimums for whatever reason, although it looks like, again, it's so shiny, they put it right there, so it looks like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do, right? This is what a credit card is for. Ultimately, it's really racking up and creating a bigger bill for you over the long run. Your interest payments end up being more than your damn minimum, depending on how large your bill is and things like that. So, one, for me, I agree with you. I don't spend money that I don't have. And I know that sometimes there's different people in different situations where you got to spend money that you don't have in emergencies. I get that. However, my rule is let's not spend money that we don't have if we can't afford it twice or three times over. It's not even fucking worth me looking at it. Right now, the flip side, I pay my balance off every single month because that's how I am. Right now, the credit bureaus actually ding you and knock you for paying your balance off in full. It's crazy to me. It's really ridiculous to me, but they ultimately, as Sam refers to it, I always like to credit the person, the originator, or the person who told it to me, right? As Sam refers to it, it's the amazing credit tax, right? They want to know that they can make a little bit of money off of you, right? Like, ultimately, you're not no fun to me if I really can't make no money off of you, right? Because you ultimately could just be purchasing this stuff in cash. So what he does and he suggests is leaving 5 to 10% unpaid, paying the interest on that, but just leaving 5 to 10% unpaid so that, again, they're happy and it actually overall boosts your score. For me, I don't play those games personally. I ain't trying to pay you any extra money. If I see the price of something that I want it at that price. I don't want it at that price plus interest, which is ultimately what you're paying when you're paying the minimum balance. So I don't play those games. Again, ego, fuck your credit tax.
Tell Sam, I don't know. I don't agree with that. I ain't leaving them nothing.
Yeah, I don't give
There's
them.
other ways
I
to
ain't
get
giving
that
it back.
score up.
Say no more, right? So, but yeah, man. I mean, you ran off on the plug twice, which is major, man. I like to always highlight because I think that Jay-Z has kind of brought it up a couple of times actually, but like in that American Gangster, on his American Gangster soundtrack, I can't even remember the name of the song, but the joint start off, and the winner is Hove, my man. Speech. First of all, I want to thank my connect, the most important person with all due respect.
All due respect. Bro.
Plies, Jay-Z. Plies, look. Plies, Jay-Z. Which businessman you want to be? You know what I'm saying?
Who you taking advice from, man? You taking advice from a hip hop billionaire?
That's what I'm saying,
Or you taking advice from Kirk Franklin, evil twin? Who you listening to, dog?
Kirk, man. Oh man, that's funny. So that's the type of energy I'm on, the type of time I'm on. I also pulled up the Jay-Z. I don't know. You remember when he did that? He was at Webster Hall. He just did that freestyle after Nipsey passed. And that joint was cold. I was listening to that
when he
joint
had the suit on, right?
day. Yeah, had the suit
was
on.
rapping
He was
like
just,
me for a change.
It was like, he reminded me of that boy Ross Mack. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. But one of the things he said like there, how we gonna get in power if we kill the source? Y'all like to run off on the plug. So of course, that ain't lit. That's just a means to an end, right? So right there, again, 2 times, Jay-Z telling you the plug. You gotta respect the plug. The plug, the only one that believe in you, get some faith to you, and that's same as the credit card companies, right? I'm gonna give you a chance, Ross Mack. I'm gonna go ahead. You got 10 racks on me. You know what I'm saying? Don't fuck it up. Don't spend it all in one place. But you gonna run off on that? They the only one that fucked with you.
I don't like gave you was 10. You would have did it right. We would have extended you 25 racks next time.
And they quick to extend you. That's one thing too. You do right by that credit. You pay your shit on time. They going quick. They call you like, hey, you ready for an increase? Because we hoping you fuck up. we hoping you get greedy. You know what I'm saying? So
it's a fact,
man. But let me see. I guess Is there anything else? Any other credit gems? I mean, credit is a
You
monster,
already
so
know
we got plenty we
that's
could
what
dive
we do,
into.
man.
But
We got nothing but gems, right? So another thing, right, that might be negative is opening up a gang of accounts, right? Don't do that. And what I mean by that is like each time you open up a new credit card or try to take out a new loan and they pull your credit card or they pull your credit, that's a hard inquiry. That is a ding against your credit. So if you got a lot of credit cards, you steady opening new accounts, ding, 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 right? So you want to try to not do that.
I got one on top of that.
Come on with it.
The reason why your credit history is so important, or the reason why people have always said, hey, like, don't close down that card, don't close down that card, don't close down that account, or whatever it may be, right? Is because when you close up an account, right, like, it potentially hurts you because you're losing all of that credit history. One of the factors that you mentioned earlier was having that good credit history, right? Like they want to know, are you a rookie or a vet, right? If you're the rookie, I don't know if I'm gonna give you the whole franchise yet, right? You a vet? Okay, cool. Like, all right, we trust you. You done this before. You done performed before. We can trust you with a little bit more, right? But now when you get rid of, and I don't know why they decided to get rid of all the credit history. That makes no sense. But now when you decide to pay off that car that you've been working to pay off for the last 5 to 6 years, now you just lose all of that credit history. It looks like you never even did that before. So all of that was working good in your favor before you paid it off, now is not working good in your favor. So I think it is important for you to know and understand that, because although for me, I am all big on being financially free, right?
Yes,
I
sir.
paid off, my wife and I, we paid off our cars recently, but probably during the pandemic, actually a couple years ago now. But we didn't know this lesson. And at that time, we still would have paid it off. But if we would have been a month, 3 months, 6 months from another major purchase in our life, a big refinance or purchasing our next home or purchasing another car, we would have, knowing this information, we wouldn't have paid that off, because our credit scores would ultimately took a hit during that time, simply because we just lost all of that good credit history that was working in our favor. So again, know the game, because I would never think that paying something off and showing, hey, I done paid my bill back, I would never think that would negatively affect you. But clearly, what do we know? You know what I'm saying? What do we know?
Exactly. Logic sometimes don't work when it comes to credit. That's why you got to know, the rules to the game. And it was so funny that you said one thing is like, once you shut down, once you actually shut down one of your credit cards, the one reason it's going to ding you is because it was showing how much credit you were being extended, right? Oh, so you used to have a $10,000 credit card, right? Oh, that just shuts down. Because when we start thinking about credit utilization, right? Imagine having a $10,000 credit and then having another $10,000 card. So now on paper, you got $20,000 of, credit lines that you can use, right? Lines of credit. And once you shut down one, it takes everything down. And now, we've been talking for about half an hour, 30 minutes or so. And one thing, now that y'all stuck with us, we're going to give you another gem, right? Because now we like, all right, I understand that. I'm trying to keep my credit score under this. I'm trying to do this. But how do I improve it, right? So we talking about that. Here's another gem, right? Suppose you get, 500 credit score, but your brother, your sister, your wife, your uncle, your auntie, they got a 700, they got a 780, 810, right? They good with their credit. Well, here's a little gem you could do. You could actually have them add you onto their account as an authorized user. What does that do? First, let's actually talk about that. Being added as an authorized user literally means their credit profile effectively gets to get mirrored onto you. So now, sure, you got a few delinquencies, etc., but whoa, you got a new credit card history that was open for 10 years with no delinquencies, that has a credit line, right, of 20,000. So now that actually helps your overall score. And the way you actually approach them is not like, let me get a credit card with your name on it, because that's really what it is, right? It's like, nah, motherfucker, I'm not you. We already know what type of cousin you is. We already know. Why would I give you my credit card, right? If I'm the uncle or the auntie with the good credit, and everybody know who you was, ain't no way we giving you that, right? Because we know you done ran off on the plug a couple times. Shit, you be lying and cheating when we play Monopoly as a family, so I know what it's gonna be like, right? But what you actually tell your auntie, cousin, whoever helping you out is, look, make me an authorized user, right? You call your credit card company. They're gonna be like, hey, I want to add my nephew and niece or whoever. You don't really got to even say who they is. I want to add this person as an authorized user. You say their name, you say their social security number, boom, right? They're gonna mail you, the person with the good credit, right? They're gonna mail you their credit card with your same exact numbers on it, but with that person's name on it. And what you do, as soon as you get it, rip it up. Okay. Now, you rip it up, now you feel safe. Like, okay, my little cousin who I'm finna glow up, right? Because I know they got a 500, I got the 780. I'm trying to at least get them into the 600s, right? You helping them because, one, it will never hurt the person with good credit because it can't. Reason it cannot hurt them is because they no longer have a credit card, right? You ripped it up, you tore it up, you threw it away. So now all they're doing is just benefited from the fact that you, the person with the good credit, right, is paying their bills on time. And so that's something I've done, more than once to a few people in my life. And I think that it's a little cheat code that can really help you get ahead.
That's major right there. That's really major right there. I think the biggest thing too is like, make sure you rip it up, right? Like make sure you cut it up. That's not to reiterate what you just said, but you don't want to, you ain't trying to give people their second and third chance when you're trying to reach financial freedom. If you listen to this podcast, you're trying to reach or you've already attained financial freedom, right? So don't allow someone to potentially derail that success for you, right? There's a reason why the bank won't loan them what they're looking for, or the credit card company won't give them exactly what they're looking for, right? So take that as a sign and make sure that you move and operate appropriately. And if you're going to do it the way Ross said. Cut the other credit card up. I think that's major, bro.
All right, so look, people, in closing, at the end of the day, it's a few things we are comfortable talking about. That's our favorite athlete, our favorite movie, et cetera, but we don't ever talk about the things that are kind of taboo, and that's what your credit score is. So this episode was meant to do one thing, help you understand it, because at the end of the day, like Coach say, this might be the ninth wonder of the world because don't nobody understand it, but we all need it. Even the richest people in the world need credit. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, and the richest people actually are smarter because they leverage credit to make more money, right? But that's a whole nother episode. But what I will say is make sure you're paying your bills on time. Make sure you're keeping that credit utilization down. Be smart when it comes to opening new accounts because sometimes it could ding you, right? And at the end of the day, we're trying to make sure everybody listening get, up to 750, 800. But that's that, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Before we go, man, make sure y'all do us a few favors, right? Make sure you like, subscribe, to that teacher that told you ain't never gonna be nothing. Make sure you reach out to them and share it with them too, man, because it's all about the game. Money Music Coach, it's your boy Ross Mack, and I was here with my dog, the infamous Brandon Copeland. And until next time, we'll catch y'all.